Good morning and welcome to Daily Red Devil for all of your latest Manchester United transfer news and talk. I hope everyone is doing well on this Tuesday morning. We're back with another massive show to bring you guys today. But before we do that, please do smash a like on the video. Please do subscribe to the channel if you're new, and let's get straight on into it. On the show this morning, we're going to be talking about and reacting to the story that apparently Manchester United are looking to sign Ligt from Bayern Munich in the summer, and are also very interested in signing Araujo of Barcelona. We're talking about that, talking about the futures of Pellistri and a couple of other players, including Anthony Martial, with some more stories coming out around him. We'll also be talking a little bit and opening up the channel, the comment section for conversation on José Mourinho. Mourinho has this morning just been sacked by Roma. So he is officially available. So is there a potential world where José Mourinho becomes the manager of Manchester United? We'll be talking about that. And we'll also be talking about a massive blow in Manchester United's pursuit of Paul Mitchell. Not good news on that front. We'll be talking about that. So much to get into. Make sure, as always, that you get involved in the comment section. Make sure to have your say on everything we discuss on today's show. And let's jump straight on into it. Let's start off with some breaking news that literally has just dropped in the last 10 minutes, and that is about the director of football role at Manchester United. So, Damasio, very, very reliable Italian journalist, over nearly 2 million followers on Twitter. I would say he's the best Italian journalist after Fabrizio Romano. And interestingly enough, apparently Fabrizio Romano kind of learnt his trade off Damasio. Anyway, very reliable journalist for Italian football. And he is reporting this morning that apparently Roma are in talks with Paul Mitchell about becoming their new sporting director. If we were to lose Paul Mitchell now, I'd be absolutely gutted. I would. I mean, looking at it from the surface, Paul Mitchell is a Manchester United fan. He's from Manchester. We've been linked to him for months. Why is it now, this morning, that we're getting one of the most reliable journalists in world football saying that Roma are in negotiations with Paul Mitchell for him to become the new director of football? I mean, what does that mean for us? I know there's obviously the links with Dan Ashworth from Newcastle, but my understanding has always been that it would be Dan Ashworth as the kind of sporting director, Paul Mitchell as the head of recruitment. Like, that was what we were kind of... You know, when they had all these stories coming out when Jim Ratcliffe was announced as the new 25% owner, and there was all this positivity being spun, it was always Jean-Claude Blanc will be the CEO, Paul Mitchell will be the head of recruitment, Sir Dave Brailsford will be the head of performance, and Dan Ashworth will be the sporting director. And, you know, me included, I got excited about that. I thought, that sounds like a great team to start this new future, to start a rebuild. But so far in the last 2 weeks, Jean-Claude Blanc's not going to become the CEO, apparently. Now you've got Paul Mitchell, who apparently is in talks with Roma to become their sporting director. You've got Newcastle saying that they're not going to let Dan Ashworth go. I mean, so what are we left with then? We're left with Sir Dave Brailsford, who, let's be honest, has never even been involved in a club of this standing in his career. He worked, obviously, at Ineos and has done more cycling, hasn't he? Like, I don't think he was the head of performance at Nice. And even then, Nice isn't the same, kettle of fish as Manchester United. So, I don't know. It's a little bit concerning. I do just wonder whether, we were spun a web of lies over the first kind of couple of weeks. Since Jim Ratcliffe was announced on Boxing Day, everybody at that time thought it was strange. Who announces a new owner of a club, a new part owner of a club at 6 p.m. on Christmas Eve? Sorry, it was Christmas Eve. Like, that's not normal. It really, really isn't. And a lot of people did say that the reason they thought that was done was because, there wasn't all the journalists working and stuff then. There wasn't that many people talking. Most people were spending time with their family. Not many people were that bothered. They announced it at a time. They do it quite a lot in politics, where like a government, there'll be something really, really big going on, like a really big talking point. I don't know, some sort of law that's going to be changed. And then at that same point, when everybody's focused on something else, they'll pass a new law. And then years down the line, people will be like, I never knew that happened. And it kind of feels like the same with how Jim Ratcliffe was announced. I mean, who announces something of that size on Christmas Eve at 6 o'clock? Like, it doesn't happen. It's not normal. And I think ever since that big announcement, which everybody was obviously a bit concerned about, there's been so much positivity being put out in the media, so much, this will be the dream team at Manchester United, the Jean-Claude Blanc, the Sir Dave Brailsford, the Paul Mitchell, the Dan Ashworth, and this was what we've kind of been told to ultimately silence us, I feel like. And, to have this story come out this morning from, as I said, a very reliable source over in Italy, saying that, he's looking like he's going to go to Roma. Dan Ashworth's going to stay at Newcastle. Jean-Claude Blanc's not going to be the CEO. I mean, what's going to happen? Is it going to be John Myrtle will stay as the CEO? I don't know. It does worry me. It does. Yeah. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Are you concerned about this? Do you think this is just a false alarm? Yeah, let me know what you think. I think it's pretty embarrassing, to be honest. If we don't get our top targets in the management area, and I don't mean Erik ten Hag's job, I mean, the director of football, the CEO, the sporting director, then I think this job's going to be very difficult for whoever the owner is, whether that's the Glazers or if it's Jim Ratcliffe. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Right, let's move on to the next story. Let's talk a little bit about Jose Mourinho really, really quickly. Obviously, the breaking news this morning is that Roma have officially sacked Jose Mourinho. I mean, obviously, I'm not a Roma fan, so I'm not going to, comment on whether Roma fans are right or wrong. But he won them a trophy last season. Let this sink in for a second, all right? Roma won a European trophy last season. Jose Mourinho, as far as I'm aware, had a very good season with them last year. Okay? This season, it's obviously not been particularly good. He finished 6th last season, didn't he? Yeah, so he got European football. This season, they're sat in 9th. The same position where Man United are sat. And Roma have just sacked him. That's mad, isn't it? Do you not think that's a bit crazy? I mean, if you're going off that logic, then Erik ten Hag should probably be sacked as well. If Jose Mourinho's gone into a more difficult job, not more difficult, but more difficult in the sense that he's had less money to spend, let's say. He's gone into a job with less money to spend, and he's won Roma their first European trophy. And I can't remember the last time Roma won a European trophy, but it's been a very, very long time, hasn't it? He wins them a European trophy. He's in 9th place, which isn't, I mean, it's not terrible, is it? He's only, I'm just having a look at the table now. He's only, where is he? There he is. He's only 4 points off the European places. Whereas if you look at Man United at the moment in the Premier League, we're currently 8 points off the European places, and the team in 4th have a game in hand. So if Arsenal win their game in hand, we'll be 11 points off top 4. Whereas Jose Mourinho at Roma, off the back of winning a European trophy last season, is only 3 points off top 4, and they've sacked him. I mean, that's crazy, isn't it? Obviously, I don't watch Roma week in, week out, so I don't know whether it's, the football they're playing is poor. I don't really know, so I'm not going to comment on it too much. But the headline is he's gone. And what I wanted to ask you lot is, do you think there's a world where Jose Mourinho comes back to Manchester United? I mean, I thought about this question quite a lot before I went live, because obviously I know I can't ask a question without answering it myself. And I'll say this is all I'm going to say on the matter. I don't think that Jose Mourinho is somebody we should be bringing back to Manchester United. But if we want to get the best out of the current players we have, and we want to get the best out of the skill set that the current players have, which is park the bus, counter-attacking football, I think Jose Mourinho is a better manager to manage these set of players who have limited capabilities and to play a more defensive style of football. I genuinely think Jose Mourinho is better suited to the team we have at the moment than Erik ten Hag is. I honestly believe that. I mean, look at it. Did he win the FA Cup with us? I know he won the Europa League. Yeah. I don't think he will come back to Manchester United. The point I'm trying to make here is that, as I said on the videos yesterday, which, have got mixed reactions, I think that if we're sticking with Erik ten Hag, then we need to probably get rid of 60-70% of this team, because 60-70% of this team don't know how to play possession-based, dominating football, and obviously the young players, you can train that into them, but these older players, the people who are, 30 plus, they're not going to suddenly just be able to start playing a different style of football that they've not been, out of nowhere. So yeah, for me, I wouldn't want Jose Mourinho back at Manchester United, but just to play devil's advocate, if in the summer, Sir Jim Ratcliffe says, we're keeping McTominay, we're keeping Maguire, we're keeping, all of these players, then I don't think Erik ten Hag will work going forward. I think in the summer, we've got to clear out most of that squad. And I've said this to you guys multiple times before, because the squad we have at the moment suits a manager like Ollie, who parks the bus and hits on the counter-attack. The manager we have, the squad we have at the moment suits a manager like José Mourinho, who parks the bus, plays pretty boring football, but wins games and hits on the counter-attack. That's the team we have at the moment. That's the squad. We don't have a squad to play this fast, fluid, beautiful, 40, 50 passes before scoring a goal type football. It's win the ball back, hit one ball over the top to Marcus Rashford and score on the counter-attack. That's our style of play. We do have a style of play. It's just that a lot of people in the fan base, me included, don't like the style of play that we've been accustomed to over the last kind of 10 or so years since Sir Alex left. We don't want to see counter-attacking football. We want to see us go head-to-head with teams like Man City, Liverpool, Arsenal even Tottenham these days, play a more attractive style of football than us. And obviously Erik ten Hag coming into this club was with the expectation that we would start playing football like that. But I honestly think that maybe he was just a bit naive to think that, he would get this squad of players to be able to play like a Man City, a Liverpool. If you look at the players that Pep Guardiola got rid of within 1 or 2 years of being at Man City, let's have a quick look at this really quickly. I think this is a really important thing to have, because I think people a lot of the time are like, Erik ten Hag should be able to turn these players into something different. And I just don't think that's realistic, So within one season, yeah. Let's have a look. I know it's not a Man City channel, but I do think it's important. So within one season of Pep Guardiola being there, the goalkeeper was different and the whole of the defence were different. Fernandinho had gone and he'd got Gundogan, and then his whole midfield was different, apart from Sterling. So the only two players that were the same within one season, as in the only two players that Pep Guardiola kept within one season of being there, was Aguero, who's obviously Man City's probably greatest player after De Bruyne, and Sterling. Every single other player, he kind of sold and changed. New centre-backs, new right-backs, new left-backs, new goalkeepers. He changed all of it. And then he started playing the style of football that he wanted to. And I think that's the reality that we've all got to accept here. Do we honestly think we're going to be playing like prime Barcelona or prime Ajax when you've got a defence of Johnny Evans, Wan-Bissaka at left back, even though he's a right back, Dalot and Varane? It's never going to happen. It's not. And a midfield of Eriksen, who's never played CDM in his 33 years on this planet, and Kobe Mainoo, who's 18. It's never going to happen. Anyway, that's my view on it anyway. And it's a little bit crazy, isn't it? Ed says, the only concern I have is the fan base and our lack of patience. We are bad and improvement will take time. Ineos failing to hire the best candidates makes the process slower. 100%, mate. 100%. We needed to bring in the Jean-Claude Blancs, the Paul Mitchells, the Sir Dave Brailsford. And we needed to have this, this dream team. And at the moment, it seems like we're not going to get that. Obviously, things can change quite quickly in football. But obviously, Roma have just sacked Jose Mourinho. And now we're hearing that, Paul Mitchell's going to go as the new sporting director alongside a new manager, which doesn't really leave us with many options then, to be completely honest. But we'll come back to that on another show. I think it's, a topic we could talk about for a lot longer. Just a quick one in relation to Pellistri. So Fabrizio Romano has come out in the last half an hour or so saying that apparently there are 3 clubs who are interested in signing Pellistri on loan in the January window. Now, from what we're hearing, it will just be a loan move. It won't be a permanent deal. Those 3 clubs are PSV Eindhoven, LA Galaxy and Granada. LA Galaxy, I think that's a complete waste. Granada, he already went out on loan, didn't he, to La Liga, and I don't think he did very well. So I don't really know. I think PSV is probably the best option out of those 3. But at the same time, I would really like to see Pellistri get some game time in the Premier League, at a Burnley or a Luton or, someone towards the bottom of the Premier League, maybe an Everton, someone like that, where he's going to go and play every single match and really, really introduce himself to the Premier League. Because I think, sending him to LA Galaxy, for me, it's just pointless. It's completely pointless. Unless it's going to be a permanent deal, what's he really going to gain from going playing in a lesser league like the American League, the MLS? Like, he's going to gain nothing. He might go there and have a nice time, but from a footballing perspective, I just think it's a waste. But let me know what you guys think. Out of those three clubs, where would be the best loan move for Pellistri? The options are PSV, LA Galaxy, or Granada. Let me know in the comment section. Right, let's talk a little bit about De Ligt. Obviously, we spoke about De Ligt on the show last night because this story broke whilst we were live last night, which is always quite exciting when new bits of information come out. The headline this morning from Sky Sports is that De Ligt is 100% not happy at Bayern Munich and wants to leave the German club in the summer, okay? And then you had Florian Pletterberg last night saying that apparently De Ligt is not satisfied and that Erik ten Hag is very interested in bringing him to Manchester United. For me personally, I just see De Ligt as a younger version of Maguire. He's slow. He's quite big. Obviously, he's strong. I don't think De Ligt would work in the Premier League personally, unless you're going to play a back five, which I don't really want to happen. Unless you're going to play three centre-backs, I don't think De Ligt will work because it will be exactly the same thing that happens when Erik ten Hag tries to play Maguire in a more attacking side and teams just hit the ball over the top and Maguire can't chase it. So yeah, for me, I would say no on De Ligt. The other player we're linked to this morning quite heavily is Araujo from Barcelona. Now, obviously, he's an incredible player. Very, very talented. I can't see him coming to Manchester United personally. Like, I know Barcelona are really struggling at the moment. Barcelona always do well, but at the moment they're struggling, aren't they? They obviously just lost badly to Real Madrid in the Spanish Cup final? Like, they're not doing very well. He is the captain of Barcelona. I can't see him coming to Manchester United personally. I know we were linked to him a lot last summer. Someone like Araujo is going to cost you 80 to 100 million. And me personally, I don't think United would go and do that deal. I don't. But let me know what you guys think. There's three options. You can either have Araujo from Barcelona, you can have De Ligt from Bayern Munich, or you can have Jared Brathwaite from Everton. Those are the kind of three players that we're linked to today. Obviously, there's Todibo as well, which is another option, and there's Antonio Silva. There's 5 players that we're heavily linked to this summer. Which one would you like? If you could only pick one, let me know in the comment section. Again, I'll list them off for you really quickly. Todibo, Jared Brathwaite, De Ligt, Araujo, or Antonio Silva. Those are the kind of 5 options. Let me know what you think in the comment section. I would probably go in this order. I'd go Todibo, Antonio Silva, Jared Brathwaite, Araujo, De Ligt. Araujo probably is the best centre-back out of all of those options. I just think that the amount of money that it would cost for him would be ridiculous. His wages would probably be 350k a week. And then we're going back into that same thing where we bring people in from La Liga, we give them ridiculous wages. It probably doesn't work out. And then in 2 years, we're sat there looking like idiots because we've, given Araujo 350 grand a week when he was only on 200 grand a week at Barca. Whereas someone like Jared Brathwaite, Todibo, Antonio Silva, they're probably going to only want about 100k a week because they're still young. There are lesser clubs at this moment in time who probably aren't paying them as much as what a Barcelona would be paying someone like Araujo. Barcelona are paying him 220,000 a week at the moment. He's going to want more than that to come to United. He'd probably want 300 to 350. Whereas, if you compare that with someone like Antonio Silva at Benfica, he's on 30 grand a week. You could triple his wages and he'd still only be on 90k a week. And you can see where this logic that I'm kind of basing my, opinion comes from. You look at Jared Brathwaite, again, very, very talented, very, very talented player. He's on 15,000 a week at Everton at the moment. You could, again, triple his wages and he'd be on 50 grand a week. You look at someone like Todibo, again, he's, a good player. He's not obviously on the level of Araujo. Todibo at Nice is currently paid 20 grand a week. You triple his wages, he's on 60. And people will say, why are we tripling wages? But the point I'm trying to make here is Todibo on triple his current wages, he's going to be absolutely buzzing with that. Whereas if you go to Araujo and he's on 220 grand a week at Barca, he's the captain of Barca, and you say, oh, we'll give you 200 grand a week. He's going to say, well, why would I do that? I can stay at Barcelona and earn 220 grand a week. I want 350 grand a week if I'm going to come. And I think it's the same with De Ligt. I think, these bigger players by way of bigger branded players, they're bigger names in the world of football, want more money. The same with Ligt. He's going to want crazy amount of money. And I just think, De Ligt's wages, 265 grand a week. That's crazy. Again, he would want that or more to come to Manchester United. So when you break it down like that, you've got two options, okay? You've got option one. You go for someone like De Ligt or Araujo. Two very good centre-backs on the world stage. They've won lots of trophies. They've played for massive clubs. They're gonna cost you anywhere between 50 and 100 million for either of them, right? And they're going to want 300 grand a week. Or you go for option B, which is people like Antonio Silva. Obviously, he's going to cost a lot because of his release clause. But let's say Jared Brathwaite and Todibo, for argument's sake. You could probably get Jared Brathwaite from Everton. Obviously, Everton are in big trouble financially. They've just been hit with another point deduction for financial fair play issues. So Everton are going to need to sell in the summer. They could even be relegated, I think, the way it's going, because there's another point deduction coming for them and they're already down the bottom of the table. So Everton could be in big trouble next season and need to sell off their players. They would probably accept somewhere between 30 and 50 million for Brathwaite, right? Todibo, I think, would be about the same, 30 to 50 million, somewhere in that region. You could get those two centre-backs for probably about the same amount of money as what it would cost to get Araujo. And the wages that you'd pay Brathwaite and Todibo combined would probably be not even half what Araujo would want a week between the two of them. So when you look at it like that, I know people will say, oh, Araujo, that's such an exciting name. But I think we need to almost steer away from these types of names and more focus on the up-and-coming players, the ones who haven't yet become world stars. Todibo is a trendy name amongst the United fans, but he's obviously not on the level of a player like Araujo. Let's be honest, he's not, is he? But he could easily become that. So I think that's the direction we need to go in. But let me know what you guys think. Let me know what your thoughts are. And yeah, let's see what else people are saying in the chat quickly. Somebody says, would you bring Ollie back? No, definitely not. Right. I'm going to wrap the video up here. Let's read one more question quickly. Fred says, we're paying crazy wages for what is rubbish. What will 90k get us realistically? Paying crazy wages for what is rubbish. What will 90k get realistically? I think the point I'm trying to make here, mate, is that, people like Todibo, Antonio Silva and Brathwaite are still on like under 20 grand a week at their current clubs. So you can easily bring them to United, triple their wages, and they'd be happy with that. Whereas someone like Araujo is not going to come to United and take a pay cut, and he's on 250 grand a week, and so is De Ligt. That's the point I'm trying to make. We need to go for these players on lower wages who are still more up and coming and build a squad for the future. But yeah, I'm going to wrap the video up there, guys. Thanks to everyone who's joined me on the show this morning. Please do me a small favour and smash a like on the video before you go. Please do subscribe to the channel if this is your first time watching. Have a great day, everybody. I will be back about 6 p.m. today. It'll be 6 p.m. Around then, 6:15. Have a nice day, everybody, and I'll speak to you all this evening.